Hey everyone, and welcome to this video. In front of me I have the Pokemon Scale World Raikou, Entei and Suicune 3-pack figure set. So this is a Bandai web exclusive, so it's got the brown outer packaging, which I've mentioned in some of previous videos as well. So plain brown box for the most part. So let's just show you that very quickly and then we'll show you the actual packaging itself. After you remove the brown packaging, you're greeted with this very cool visual of the box. It's a Japanese set, as you know, so it's got the Pokemon Scale World on the top of the packaging itself, and then the visual is super sick in this one. You get more photographs of the actual Pokemon along the sides, so the three trio and then Suicune, and then followed by Entei. So it looks really cool with some cool effects going on, and then finally it has Raikou. On the underside then you're just given some visuals of some of the previous figures that it's come with, and a few kind of visuals on how to insert the parts or accessories that these Pokemon come with. So let's get this thing open. And then this is what you're greeted with once you take them out of the box. So the parts again aren't included, but you do get the candy, which I'm going to eat, so I'll put that to the side. So we'll have a look at Raikou first, then Entei, then Suicune following this. So Raikou looks very cool. Big hunk of plastic like every other Scale World figure has been. But this Pokemon, for the start, looks really good. The sculpt is pretty solid. Generally quite clean. There are a few issues here and there that I kind of want to talk about. Here, if you're looking at the teeth, they are not there's not too much flex on them, so hopefully they won't be damaged too easily. The eyes look pretty good on this guy, and then generally the paint looks pretty solid on him as well, especially the black kind of paint around his legs and things like that, which we'll discuss with Suicune, who's not as good. But overall, I think Raikou turned out relatively good, but there are some kind of line markings that I've had with Rillaboom, if you've seen that video, and some of the previous Pokemon that kind of show up on this Pokemon as well. A bit hard to tell because of the yellow. His tail you need to add on separately, so you just have to plug this in to the behind and that's it. Just a simple, very simple insertion to his behind. I know this sounds weird, but that's how you put his tail on. It doesn't have the most snuggest of fits, I realized, but hopefully, you're going to keep these in a stationary position. They're not action figures, so it should hold perfectly fine. So moving on to Entei, his fins aren't attached to him straight away, or wings, however you want to call them. So you get the left and the right side of those, and they are marked. So they're marked with an R and an L. Not the easiest thing to kind of see in this video, but they're definitely marked, so hopefully you won't get that attachment wrong. Then moving on to the figure itself, Entei I think is one of the cleanest out of the three, or just general Scale World figures I've seen. He's really nice looking. Bit of flex to his mustache, you might call it, but generally he's really solid. Quite a clean looking figure overall, paint and sculpt overall. So even the underside, there's not much that happens with a lot of the Pokemon with their feet, but Entei looks pretty solid through and through. So I'm quite happy with how Entei turned out. Attaching his attachment parts are very simple. Like I said, the right side and the left side, just plug those in and hopefully get a pretty neat finish with those. Bit of flex to them as well, so don't be too hard in case you get unlucky and they kind of get damaged. Hopefully not. But yeah, he looks really cool once he's complete with those parts applied to him. So yeah, pretty satisfied with Entei, to be quite honest. Then we move on to Suicune, and this is one that I'm not the most convinced with. So again, sculpt looks really cool, and the colors, they stand out. He stands out quite well, or it stands out very well with the blue, the whites, and then I guess the lilac of its mane stands out really well. There's a kind of white wash or white highlightings happening on the mane, which looks really nice as well in person. But there are issues with the way the white diamonds are painted, and they are just not neat at all. Compared to Raikou, who's much superior finish, Suicune just isn't very good. It's actually very disappointing. Just like Raikou, you got to attach the tail part to Suicune as well. So I'll show you that in just a second too. But yeah, just kind of going through this Pokemon again, you just saw the eyes. The eyes aren't very good. So I'm going to just show you the tail now. So attaching the tail, you just plug that in to the behind again, and just be careful as you put it in, because it's got that split. You don't want to force too hard in the split in case you make that split worse and you completely split it apart. But otherwise, yeah, it fits relatively decently, and that's how it looks. And it looks decent once it's applied. You do get stands for Suicune, specifically to use for Suicune, and these I've already put in. They're just shafts that go into a base, so you get 3 of them, 2 for the strands of his tail, and then 1 for the centerpiece for the actual body of Suicune. It doesn't really sit on it that flush, but it's given to you anyway. These shafts then you just plug or lay under the strand of the tail, but I felt like it didn't really do too much. So actually I'd prefer not to use them. You can kind of shift them if you want, but generally I just think there's no point. It looks fine without it. Maybe once you've got it like that for a while without the stands, they kind of droop. Maybe that's why they've supplied them. I'm not really sure. So let's just kind of look at them 3 side by side with all their, the tails attached and appendages applied to them already. So they look really, really nice overall. Like I said, with these scale word figures, they look much better in a group shot rather than individual figures. And these guys are no different. Just looking at them, they're very strong, powerful visual, just as the 3 legendary Pokemon. So this is no different. I like how they look together. Just individually, Suicune is probably the worst one. So here you can see the 3 legendary Pokemon with some of the other Pokemon in the scale word set that I've got. And again, they look a lot better once they're collectively shown together. Individually, not so strong, but I'm really liking once you've got a big group of them. So I think I will still buy a few more of these Pokemon. Not every single one, but a few of the ones that catch my eye, and probably the limited edition web exclusives. So if you do want to see more of the scale word stuff, check out my channel, because I've covered a few of these in the past, especially the ones in this video in particular, and I'll cover some more soon. So stay tuned for that. Peace out.